the asshole for letting my pregnant coworker get in trouble? I, 24 female, work an office job. I have a coworker, Ann, 28 female. Ann is currently 6 months pregnant. We have a dedicated break room where we go for lunch, as we aren't allowed to eat anything or drink anything except water bottles in the office because of the computers. We all have our own break schedules that are the same every day. Ann and I go to break together. Our lunch break is from 1:30 to 2:30. No one else is on the schedule and take their breaks earlier or later. In the break room, there's a few chairs and a couple of couches. Over the past 2 weeks, Ann has started taking naps on one of the couches during her lunch break. I know it's not my business as to what she does on her break. She can do what she wants. Last Friday, Ann and I were taking our breaks as usual. I was listening to music on my headphones, and when it was around 2:30, I got up to go back to work. I didn't really pay attention to what Ann was doing. Everyone was confused and was saying, "Where's Ann?" by around 3 o'clock because they needed her. And our boss went into the break room and Ann was still sleeping. Ann got a warning from our boss. Ann is now angry with me because our breaks end at the same time, so I should have woken her up. She said I am selfish and careless. A lot of our coworkers are on Ann's side and agree. I told Ann if she can't wake up, she shouldn't sleep during her break. She said the baby makes her tired and accused me of calling her lazy and being insensitive. Just an edit. When my break was ending, I was scrolling on my phone and listening to music. I have ADHD. When I do these things, I'm quite oblivious to my surroundings. I didn't not wake Ann because of malice. Honestly, I feel like everyone's a grown-ass adult, especially if you're in the workforce. It's no one's responsibility to go check on you. Yeah, it would have been nice. You're not the asshole for it. She should be able to set an alarm. Like, it's not your fault. Am I the asshole for canceling my credit card after my boyfriend refused to return it to me? I'll preface this by saying that I, 27 female, and my boyfriend, 30 male, have been together for 3.5 years. I've been jumping from one job to another while he has been unemployed due to health issues that affected his performance at work. Usually, I'm the one handling rent, bills, groceries, etc. I use my credit card to make any purchases I want. Last week, my boyfriend out of nowhere asked for my credit card. I asked why, since I'm the one who handles payments and supermarket trips. He told me he wanted to buy some food, and I agreed to let him take it, but told him to return it later. Hold on, your boyfriend is 30 and doesn't have a credit card? Your boyfriend is 30 and doesn't have any money saved up? Your boyfriend is 30 and sitting his ass at home expecting his girlfriend to provide and take care of him? Just wanted to make sure. He got back later, and when I asked about my credit card, he was like, "What credit card?" I thought he was just joking, so I told him to just give it back. He said he'd just keep it with him. I asked why, and he said so he could start handling paying for stuff on my behalf. I felt uncomfortable. I said I'd rather not burden him with this stuff and asked him to hand over the credit card. He refused and said that he'll just keep it since it doesn't have that much money anyways. Credit cards don't have money, they have credit limits, ding dong. I was livid. I tried to argue, but he told me to just trust him and let him keep it and swore he won't spend a penny from it. Next morning, I went and canceled it. Then registered a new one. He must have had tried to use it because he called and was confused asking why the credit card was not valid anymore. I told him it's because I canceled it and registered a new one. He lost it and started scolding me, saying he couldn't believe I had this level of petty and kept on about how I don't trust him with my finances. I wouldn't either. You're a 30-year-old bum sitting at home using your girlfriend's credit card to buy shit for yourself. Get out of here. And how financially abusive I have become lately. You're the financially abusive one? I hung up on him. Good. The argument continued at home, and he called me paranoid and unreasonable and all that. Then he started cold shouldering me and sulking about it for days. I do feel like I hurt his feelings and showed an amount of distrust towards him. So, am I the asshole for canceling the credit card? Adding for some more info. Like I said, he has a physical disability that limits his opportunities for work. He receives no disability benefits because he doesn't want to. He refuses to acknowledge he has a disability and pretends that it doesn't exist at all. When I tell him to look for a job, he'd blame people for purposely refusing to employ him and say that they look down on him like he's lacking or beneath them. Since someone asked, the answer is, I do almost 80% of the chores while he does the other 20%. Reasons for that is his disability. Finally, I pay for rent, bills, groceries, his meds, and transportation as well, so I needed the card to be constantly with me. I stole my then best friend's wedding cake the day of the wedding. My 28 female, best friend 31 female, was supposed to have her wedding in mid-January. It was scheduled to be a very lavish wedding, the theme being blue because she didn't want to have white on white with the snow. My best friend was being quite a bridezilla the days leading up to her wedding, and bridezilla is not quite the word for the day of. She was being a complete bitch for lack of better words. My task, of course, was going to be something simple for someone who had done so much to help me. Her words. This task was very much not simple. The drive to the bakery was a 45-minute trip each way, and the bride suggested I drive slowly to avoid the cake being messed up. So I would have to take a separate route, which would end up being around an hour and 15 minutes on the trip back with the cake. I got up bright and early at 6 a.m. and began the trip shortly thereafter. By the time I got back to the venue with the hotels everyone was staying in, it was about 9 o'clock. So, as I'm unloading the cake, the bride's mom starts to look uneasy. I thought it was because it was freezing outside, but she called over my best friend and she went absolutely berserk. Well, somehow, she failed to inform the cake decorator that she would like the cake to be a matching blue color as well. How does one forget to do this? She adamantly denied that she forgot to inform the decorator of the color, but this was only one of many other grievances from the bride that were her own fault, that she very much blew up at and did not acknowledge that they were her fault. My best friend got all up in my face and told me I needed to go back ASAP. I obliged. I made the trip back to the decorator and profusely apologized as I explained the situation. Apparently no big deal on a big wedding day for someone else and a slow day for cake decorator. I FaceTimed with my friend the whole time so she could see how everything was going. She seemed very pleased over the phone and said it was perfect. I paid for the touch-up on the cake out of pocket and left. I got back to the venue at around 12 o'clock. My friend saw the cake being set up and immediately blew up once again. She accused me of swapping out the cake she had seen over the call for a different, shittier version. She didn't even let me get one more word in as she backed me into my car seat and made other people pack the cake in the back. She told me to come back with the correct cake or I would just be cut from the wedding. I took my chances and just drove home. I put my phone on silent and ate the cake with my boyfriend and our families. Nobody knows the real story of why I had a wedding cake randomly on a Sunday night for dinner except for my boyfriend, and I don't feel guilty. Am I wrong for refusing to do a client with Tourette syndrome's nails? I, 26 female, am a commission-based nail technician, meaning I don't work for anyone but myself and only rent out a chair in a salon, which is where I work. I reserve every right to decline a client with good reason and have in the past. But something about this one is irking that I'm a bad person for it. Last week, a client came and sat in my chair after booking an appointment with me. This client did not state this anywhere in their appointment, but when they sat down and I was about to do their nails, they started to tick. I honestly didn't mean it, but I think I showed a little worry on my face as they explained their condition. They explained they have Tourette's and sometimes they have tics which move their hands. I nodded and they asked if it'd still be okay. I wanted to set a good impression and assumed it wouldn't be so bad, so I told them I would definitely try and ask them which design, colors, length, shape, etc. they like on them today. It got bad. Lately, a nail style, alternating ombre nails, has been going viral all over TikTok and other social media. This style includes blending, French tip, and precise straight lines. Not too hard, but not too easy. I felt bad I said I would try, and so I did. All through the application of the acrylics, way before the painting, their hands were ticking and moving. It was getting absolutely unbearable as I knew I wasn't going to be able to do their nails. Just as I was finishing drilling her nails into a decent shape and starting to paint, my client had a tic attack so bad that the nail polish was all over her hand. I immediately offered to clean it up for them, but they got really flustered and started to cry and sob. I felt uncomfortable, I won't lie. I definitely couldn't continue their nails. I sat the client back down and explained I didn't think this was going to work out and that a more experienced stylist would maybe work for them. I offered them a drink and a refund, but I could see the frustration in their eyes. They started shouting, calling me a brat, a dog, a childish bitch, and then stormed out. Since then, I've been getting non-stop calls from the client's family, friends, and even Google reviews telling me about how ungrateful, selfish, and ableist I am. So, am I the asshole? Am I wrong for reporting my boss over a nickname? I, 31 female, recently started a new job. It's a 5 guys office plus the boss. The boss is one of those guys who thinks he has a natural charm that ladies would instantly fall for, but he looks like a thumb and has a lot of dumb confidence for making inappropriate comments even when talking to me about work issues. I keep him at arm's length and I'm very professional with my workmates. Some days ago, I was looking after a coworker because he was procrastinating sending me a document. I went to him to make him send it and he said, okay, took his phone, opened the Messengers app, and sent me a file, but looking at it, I noticed that he saved my number as Jessica Rabbit. I asked him about it, confused, and he looked at me, shocked, eyes wide open, and just said, I'm sorry. I didn't let him go. I interrogated him until he confessed that the boss always calls me Jessica Rabbit. To be clear, I'm naturally a redhead and I got it from my mom, and I dye my hair red when it gets darker, but I don't look like Jessica Rabbit. I'm flat as a table, yes, and I had trust issues about it and worked very hard to like my body. I despise the thought of being compared to a hypersexualized cartoon character. I talked to my boss when he came into the office and asked about the nickname. He just said, because you both are sexy redheads. I told him to stop it because I don't feel safe, and he said, why are you so angry? It's a compliment. I said it's not and stormed out. I went to HR to do a formal complaint. The HR lady said she'll process the complaint, but that it was worthless because my boss is just like that. I told her that I don't like my boss's attitude and need a warrant to stop. Since then, my boss stopped talking to me, and my workmates say that I'm way too dramatic and don't know how to take a compliment. They also complain that they don't feel safe around me because they don't know if I will twist their words somehow. So, am I the asshole here? Am I wrong for not replacing one of my groomsmen after he cheated on a bridesmaid? My fiance and I are getting married in 2 months. I have 4 groomsmen, including my brother, cousin, a close childhood friend, and a close college buddy. My fiance's best friend was in a long-term relationship with him, but unfortunately for her, he got exposed as a cheater. I don't know the details of it, and honestly, I don't want to. I wasn't aware of the cheating prior to the time it was discovered. I feel that his relationship with her is none of my business. My fiancé, on the other hand, does. She now hates him and is demanding that I replace him. She said he'll be a toxic presence to our wedding because the woman he cheated on is going to be a bridesmaid. I was bothered by this. This guy is one of my closest friends. I have known him since we were 18. I want him to be a groomsman. I said that they both can go and just set aside their beef for one day. After all, the date isn't about them. It's about us, and the relationship is none of our business. She said that she was putting her foot down on this and that my friend wouldn't be in her wedding. I said that if it's that big of a deal, she can drop his ex from the wedding, and that if she doesn't want that, then we can go along with the initial plan. She's been pissed at me since and hasn't relented on this at all. So, am I the asshole?